You see this happen all the time in SSC and banking exams, right? A vacancy just gets canceled. And if you don't know how to handle this situation, it can really crush your confidence. But stick with me, because by the end of this breakdown, you're going to be mentally and strategically ready for it. So let's dive right in. This very question, the vacancy is canceled, now what? Is enough to send a wave of panic through any government job aspirant. I mean, you've put in months, maybe even years of hard work. And then one day, a notice pops up and your whole plan feels like it's up in the air. But don't you worry. Today, we are going to replace that uncertainty with absolute clarity.
You are watching Ayushi Agrawal. So here's our game plan for today's masterclass. We're going to tackle this in 5 clear steps. First, we'll look at a real official notice. Then, we'll decode the important terms. We'll also get into the whole SSC versus user department relationship, figure out why these vacancies disappear, and most importantly, we'll build your smart action plan so you know exactly what to do.
Okay, let's get into our first section. We're not going to talk about hypotheticals here. We're jumping straight into an official document so you can see exactly how this works in the real world, from the ground up.
So this notice comes directly from the Staff Selection Commission, or SSC. You know them. They're the ones who conduct your exams, and they're the ones who issued this cancellation notice, so there's absolutely no question about its authenticity. This is the real deal. Now, let's take a closer look at what the notice actually says. As you can see, 4 different types of posts were canceled: mud plaster, gallery attendant, painter, and laboratory attendant. That's a total of 9 vacancies gone. Now, 9 might not sound like a huge number, but believe me, for the students who applied for these specific posts, this is a huge deal. All right, time for a live teardown of this notice. You know how government documents are filled with specific jargon, right? Well, some of those terms are absolutely crucial to understand. Let's break them down one by one. First up, we have the post category number. You can see an example right here, NR 17525. The easiest way to think about this is like a unique roll number, but for a job post. In this specific code, the NR part stands for Northern Region. This little code is super important because it helps SSC keep track of thousands of different posts all over the country, and it's the exact code you'll use to check on your post status on the official website.
Okay, the next term is user department. Now I need you to really lean in and listen closely here. From an exam point of view, this concept is incredibly important. The user department is simply the government ministry or the office that actually needs the employees. In other words, this is your future boss. In our case study, that's the National Crafts Museum and Hastkala Academy. Let's dig a little deeper into this.
This brings us to what I believe is the most important concept you need to grasp today: the difference between the SSC and the user department. Seriously, if you understand this one relationship, about 90% of all the confusion surrounding the hiring process will just vanish.
Let's use a simple analogy to make this crystal clear. Imagine the user department, say the Ministry of Finance, is a big company. And the SSC, think of them as an HR firm that the company has hired to find good candidates. So the SSC's job is to put out notifications, conduct the exams, and declare the results. But, and this is key, it's the user department that decides how many jobs are available in the first place. And here's a classic exam trap. The final joining letter, that also comes from the user department, not from the SSC.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The proof is right here in black and white, straight from the official notice. It says, and I'm quoting, "Vacancies have been withdrawn on the request of user department and SSC has no role." That right there is the smoking gun. It proves that the SSC is just the messenger here. They're not the ones making the decision. So that naturally leads to the next big question, right? Why? The notice blames something called administrative constraints. That sounds super formal and honestly pretty vague. So what does this term actually mean for you, the aspirant?
Well, administrative constraints is basically a catch-all phrase for a bunch of internal issues. It could be anything. Maybe the department's budget got cut, or there was a change in government policy. It's also possible the job was filled by promoting someone from within. Or it could be as simple as they just don't need that post anymore. The main takeaway is that these are all internal reasons of the user department, and the SSC has absolutely zero control over them.
All right, let's do a quick thinking exercise. Imagine you see this question on your exam. If the user department cancels a vacancy, can the SSC still offer you the job? What's the answer? Think about it. Of course not, right? It's just common sense. If the employer says they don't need anyone, how can the HR agency force them to hire you? This is the core concept you have to lock in. Okay, so we've spent a good amount of time understanding the problem, but now we get to the most valuable part of our session today.
What should you actually do? What is your concrete strategic plan to handle these situations? And more importantly, how do you stay ahead and keep your motivation high?
Here is your simple 4-step strategy. Step 1. Only trust official websites like ssc.gov.in. Ignore the rumors you see on social media. Step 2. Diversify your applications. Please, never rely on just one exam or one post. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Step 3. Focus on the core syllabus. Subjects like math, reasoning, English, and general studies are common across almost all government exams. If you master these, you're basically preparing for multiple opportunities at once. And finally, Step 4. Build a resilient mindset. You have to understand that setbacks like this are just part of the journey. They don't take away from the hard work you've put.
And I want to leave you with this final thought. Always remember this. Your preparation is your single biggest asset. It is never, ever wasted. So what if one post gets canceled? The knowledge you've gained will help you crack 10 other exams. So stay strong and stay focused. If you found this breakdown helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And drop a comment below if there's a specific topic you want me to cover. Stay tuned to the